Alright, I wanted to show you one thing real quick with this rear wheel. Well, actually this chain. One is somebody has a little clip-on master link on it there. And then it looks like they have another master link here, like the chain broke and they replaced it, but it's missing the clip. And as you roll this along, I mean, it gets to some points where it's like the wheel will barely roll. Just because this chain is in such bad shape, and you can see the rust on it, and like it's binding up, and it's terrible. I can't believe somebody was riding this, and I mean it's just in terrible shape. And I mean, look right there, it locks onto the sprocket, and it's just in terrible shape. So that's one reason I'm replacing this chain, is because it's in such bad shape. And so I'm going to get this chain off, take this rear wheel off. I already broke the bolt loose here for the swing arm. This is a 24 millimeter. So I broke that loose. So hopefully we can pull all this off pretty easy. Alright, popped the chain off. Went ahead and took this bolt off. Mine was a 27 millimeter. I don't know if that's the factory size or not. But got the bolt off. Take the washer off. And now I'm just going to take a quick look at how this rear is set up, if there's any spacers anywhere. It looks like it has a spacer right inside on both sides, right inside the axle shaft there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this axle out. I think the caliper and everything should come off with it because it's still bolted on. So we'll get all that out of the way and take this wheel off. Okay, got the wheel off. Like I said, there's two spacers, one on each side. Oops, that slide in there. So got the wheel off, got the chain off, got the caliper off, got the brake line out of the way. So now I should be able to pull the, I got to pull the shock off the swing arm, and the swing arm should be ready to be dropped out. Alright, got the rear nuts on. They're torqued down to 44 foot-pounds is what the book calls for. So we're going to go ahead. I think we're ready to put this rear wheel on. I'm going to clean up the rear axle first before putting it on. Clear all the old grease off of it. Get it ready to go in. Make sure you have your two caps on both sides. And have those ready to go. So I think we're about ready here. So ready to put the rear wheel back on. Alright guys, I'm starting to do the chain and ran into a little problem. Could not get that nut to break loose. So what I had to do was run a strap around the rear wheel here to hold that rear wheel down from turning, because it was on so tight that even I have a strap over there holding the brake down, it still wouldn't break loose. It was slipping the rear brake. So finally did that and was able to get this to break loose. I did find some damage in here where it looks like the chain came around and broke the mount for the speed sensor right here. As you can see, it's broken. And it looks like somebody tried to weld it and did a really bad job, but I know this pot metal stuff, or whatever you want to call it, is really hard to weld to. So I think what I might try to do is drill this out a little bit here to be able to get a bolt in it and hold it in place. I am not going to replace that whole part, but I know the Speedo was working, and so we'll deal with fixing that. But right now we're just going to focus on the chain. I did have to just run the old chain back around just to break this loose. So we're going to get this out of the way and get the new chain on. Alright, so what I did was I just ran the chain through around the front sprocket, and I'm going to run it back through, and then I'm just going to put the master link in it for now and I'll get all the tools ready to bend the rivet out. I'm going to definitely use a riveted chain and not one of the little clip rivets or clips to hold the chain on. I don't like that. So let me get that all lined up. Okay, so here's the rivet link we're going to use, and here's the other part that goes on, and then it comes with the little O-rings and the grease for the O-rings. So we're going to grease 2 of the O-rings, put them on the master link. I'm going to slide the master link through to hold the chain on, and then we're going to get the riveting tool, and so we can spread these rivets out after we get this part, the outer link on. We're going to get that on and pressed in, and then we're going to expand the rivets here to flatten them out to hold everything on once we get this pressed on the rivet. So I'll show you once I get the tool out. Okay. The chain actually has 1 extra link, so what I did was I ground off right here where one of the pins came through. So I'm going to press this out to get rid of this link right here. So we should be good to go after pressing this through. So I'm going to carefully press it through, make sure I don't do any damage here, and get rid of this 1 link. And here's my Motion Pro chain breaker that I'm going to use for this. So when you screw out the back screw here, it pushes the pin through right here. That pushes that link pin out. All right, so here's the link that I pushed out of it. Turn my light a little bit here better. So there's the link that I pushed out. So put the master link back in. I have plenty of slack here, and I have the wheel adjusted, moved all the way forward. So I should have plenty of adjustment here to be able to tighten this chain up. And so now we're going to put the other O-rings on this side, and put the other piece on here, and then we'll use the Motion Pro tool. We switch it around, and we put this on the back, and this one on the I think this one goes on the back actually. This one goes on the front, and we're going to press that back together, and then we'll get the micrometer and measure these 2 links here to see the size of them, so we don't press it too tight and too far. We want to try to keep this part of the chain pressed on about the same thickness as these, so it moves smoothly, and then we'll bend the rivet down. Okay, I hope you can see this okay. So what I did now is I'm pressing this link together, and I'm going to take this off. And you want to do it in real small increments because you don't want to press it too much. If you press it too much, you can't get it back apart. So I'm going to take my micrometer. I'm going to measure the one next to it. It is, oh, tighten up, 1764. The one I'm pressing is measuring 1721. I don't think I pressed this in all the way. 1754. 1735. 1733. So it's pressed in far enough. The one next to it, I'm going to measure it again. 1723. And 1727. 1733. So I'm pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this over and get the part to bend the rivets out. And we'll bend the rivets out, and what I'll do is I'll measure the size of the rivet here and the size of the rivet next to it and try to press that rivet out close to the same size. So you take your riveting tool here, you put the part in that bends the rivet out, remove that, and get all the little attachment pieces here. That goes on the back side, so you can press the rivet in, back through with the riveting tool in it. See it come out here in a second. So there's the riveting tool. So now I will put this in like this. Screw the whole thing down where that riveting tool starts to push against the rivet. Back it up just a little bit. And then I'm going to use the wrench to tighten this down. So tighten that tool there. Then I'm going to tighten this back part. Whoops, I know you couldn't see it. This back part here to bend that rivet and kind of flare that rivet in place.
Okay, so there, this one is flared out. I hope you can see that in the difference in the camera. So now we're going to do the second one. I'm turning the camera on as I do it. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to put the little anvil in the back, screw the front down until it just touches the chain. The center part here just touches the chain. And then you turn the back one, the 14mm wrench, to flare it out. Crank down on it pretty good. Back it off now. And I'm going to take my micrometer. I'm going to zero it out. This one is about 550. I hate these little cheap micrometers. I'm going to buy a good one here one of these days. That one's 569. And that one's 492, so we're going to do it one more time. Let's make sure it gets lined up right. Alright, try it again. Yeah. Back it back off. $5.12. This one's $5.47. One next to it, $5.24. $5.16. Alright, we'll do it one more time. We're getting there. Check it out.
Get 550 there, 529 there. All right, so I'm gonna probably do it one more time, but you get the idea. You don't want to squeeze it too much that it presses your chain in and squishes those O-rings. So, but that's how you do it. So I'm gonna, I think I'm actually gonna leave it where it's at. It's real close. I think it's good to go. So we're gonna go ahead and next we're gonna adjust this chain. And then I'm going to clean the chain real good. We still have to put the front nut on and then bend these little tabs back out so that nut doesn't back off. So I'm going to do that, but like I said, there's a little bit of repair work I have to do in here, So I'm going to do that off camera. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to actually do it. So this is probably all we're going to be doing for the chain for right now. And I'll probably be back to show you how to adjust the chain, get it into the proper tension, and all that good stuff. But you can see now that this chain moves nice and free. It's not all binding up and everything like the other one was. And you just have to maintain these chains and make sure they stay lubed up, and they'll last for a long time, and you won't have, you know, a lot of issues with them. Just maintain them. So that's all we're going to do for now. So I'll be back to adjust and do all of that. We'll have to get it off the lift to adjust the chain tension, and we're going to put this bolt back in. I'm actually going to set this bolt right here so don't forget it, and that will be the next thing we do. All right, so I torqued this down to 92 foot-pounds, and now I'm going to bend the part of the washer down over top of that so it can't back itself off. And then I'm going to put the speed sensor back on, and the speed sensor gets torqued to 87 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. So gonna torque that back on and try to get this back together so then we can take it off the lift and get the chain adjusted. All right, guys, so I've got the cover back on. I've got the foot peg plate, whatever you want to call it, back on. So now we're going to have to adjust the chain. So I'm gonna have to take it off the lift and do that. So we're getting there, we're getting closer to having this thing finished. All right, let's do that next.